So exactly right. I had mine. I was able to get my object that I drew onto my paper. I'm just going to drop the front and right side view and an isometric. I went and scaled mine down. I don't know if we did this together. Did we? We did, right? I've scaled mine. I just showed how I can scale these differently. Yep. My edit view. So I think I'm at maybe a one scale here, 1 to 1. And I think I'm at a 1.5 scale on on these ones. I can. Yeah. Okay, so just a couple of things. I did start dimensioning, but I just wanted to show you that the way this brings in, it creates new layers for you for this. So this automatically, when you're dropping these, it might start creating these when I'm actually doing the modeling out in model space. But if you notice your layers, this is something to pay attention to. It's created all these MD layers, which are kind of layers that it knows it needs, I guess. But what I want to show you is that we can change and then it just establishes, I think, everything to be either black or white, um, white in model space, black on paper. And so if I want to change that here, so I just want my hidden lines. So what do I have here? I just have visible lines. Yep. And I'm not sure what line weights I think these are just going to be default line weights that it picked here. So if I look at my visible lines. I almost have a visible narrow and a visible. I'm not sure which lines are which on that model. Which ones would be considered visible narrow and visible? But one of them's picking up at a 0.5 millimeter and one's at 0.35 millimeter. I don't usually change these. Like normally our visible lines would be what? They are point 0.4. And so I'm just going to leave these as their default, how they came in. But in the event that these are maybe too bold of visible lines. Maybe it's just that I need to adjust the line weight because I think these are coming in as defaults. I was going to check the hidden narrow, and hidden. These come in. Well, maybe I will bump these ones down because these are kind of heavy hidden lines, and I think I'll make my hidden lines match, or maybe I'll make them all match what my kind of my ASME layers were. So now I've changed my mind here, but so I'll take my visible object 0.40 millimeter or 0.4 millimeter, and I'll make my new layers that were created be those same line weights. It's like a 0.4. I'll just set the visible narrow and visible to be the same. Are these not showing up? You just have visible. I, I can't remember what I did here. I don't know if I don't know if it's because I've got two different scale. I'm not sure which one's picking up narrow. Oh yeah. So that's interesting. If you don't have those, then don't worry about them. Because I can't say that I know exactly why those ones are without doing a little bit of exploration here. But these are actually the line weights that are showing in on this drawing right now. And so what are you saying? Are you talking about layers? Oh, you got to set it back up. Yeah. I'm gonna change my hidden lines. My hidden line weights are what? 0.13? Yes. So I'm gonna change these ones to 0.13. And then they'll match the rest of my other drawing standards kind of. Let's see here. I'm not sure I'm using any of this MD annotation right now. It's a 25 millimeter. It, I'm going to leave that one as it is. I'm not going to adjust the annotation one unless I see where it shows up. I believe when I drop my dimensions, they're going to be on my dimension layer. So I'm going to leave all those, just mostly needing those hidden lines to be changed. I also want to change their color, right? So I'm not going to change any other colors except for the hidden lines. I'm going to change it to that green. So which I think is just standard green here and standard green here. And then my hidden lines go green. Not that that matters too much. Maybe it's just a visual. It wouldn't really matter because I think the line weight's more important, especially when we consider that most of our drawings are technically delivered in black and white. Uh, but also the you change like I just did the your layer properties are, and you've changed your hidden lines that are MD hidden to a different color. And the the lines. Yeah, they're just bound to this view. You really can't get in here and independently maneuver the lines on this at all, because technically they are images of the 3D model. So are you trying to move lines or change lines here? Good. So I'm back to here. Everybody's getting their layers to change color. Yes. Yeah, the indicator for that is if you go to select your here and you don't get this box around it, you'll know that maybe if you're on a weird layer, it's almost like you don't have access to the view at all if it's on a layer that's turned off. But your object was built on the visible object layer. That's why I think it shows up through the, yeah, even though however you place the view.
What
That's
if you don't have it on a visible layer? You go to plot it, they don't exist. Inversion layer.
yeah, that's probably true. It won't even show up on your you'll see your dimensions just floating in space and you'll be like, what the heck? And that's usually that you've probably, yes, got it on a layer that's not to plot. Yes, exactly. Yeah, it gets kind of complicated, but that's the only line change I needed to do here. Get those green lines. And then I'm just going to add some I'm going to go over to my center layer and I'm just going to add some, they're on the annotate tab still, our center marks here. So I'm just going to apply our center marks here to that one at least. And then I've got a center line that I want to put in between for the whole and not necessarily for this, right? So I think that I just need to know which one is the whole center line and which one is the top is the whole.
I drew a line across because I was questioning it.
And yeah, that's exactly that's what I was gonna say because for me to be able to, yeah, exactly right. You could just grab a line, and then here you can say, yes, the top one kind of looks wrong here. To me, it looked like the other one was higher, but it's not. This one is. I think you're right. Yes, I agree. Totally agree. It's not that I didn't trust you. I did, but I like what you're doing. Just kind of check it, and then I can put a center line on there, right? Between that one and that one. And I'm still gonna, and I always bring up my properties palette to adjust these things, right? So just remember that's always on your view tab. Your properties palette is right there. I always dock mine. And then I can change this stuff here. 0.25, 0.25. So I'll have my center lines, these ones too. Quarter-inch center line extension. All right. And now I'm ready to dimension. So I'll jump over to my annotate tab on dimensioning. And so I might just dimension a couple and then I might scale this and just see. I'm interested in how if my I'm trying to remember myself if my annotation affects these dimensions as well. I mean, these are annotative dimension style. It will scale to that view scale. Yeah, and that's just something good to check here. Is like, okay, here's like an overall height, and here may be an overall length here or width. Let me call it width. Keep it. And then if I change this scale on this, which is just edit the view up here, scale, maybe back to a 1. Yeah, as long as your dimensions are kind of have locked into those points, they should change for us, but this can be a little. Well, I'll see if I get some that don't so much. Um, and it's hard to track them down, but let's see here, double the scale. When it jumps, when you jump scale. Yeah, so let me show you. Okay, so that's good to know that sometimes your dimensions won't look right. They'll look like they're the wrong dimensions, maybe. So, and I think I've played around with that issue a little bit. Let me go back to like a 1.5 scale on mine here. Sorry. And it should be just 3.88, right? So make sure you have your annotation, make sure that your annotated objects are on here, I think. Make sure those are automatically updating. If you have a dimension, did it do anything? Okay. Some Yeah, and sometimes it can be that like you got to like maybe reassociate the grip to the object, like the extension line end grip sometimes to the object. Generally, the ones that are going to be problem childs, they show up with an exclamation point in front of them, and so I'll see if I get some of those as I continue along here. But I'm just going to get so I'm just going to continue a little bit here. Get my overalls here. I've got my overall height, width, and depth here, and then we're just going to do features here, right? So ASME, we could do a degree of turn here, or maybe we could do kind of a point to point on this one here. Would be something like in this X direction from the same end there, kind of. So there's my pulling from the same left side. I feel like my left side surface is really a better pull point than my right side, that it's just a point, right? So I like these. The height, this dimension really works for both of these. That's the Y direction and X direction. So that's kind of located there at a point. And then we can look at this feature and define it. I think I'll define it from this end as well. So it starts right there. And then pull this one down to you. And then it ends over here. This is what you might start getting. There's my exclamation point that showed up. So this just means that it probably won't, like if I go to move this one's gonna like have some issues moving probably. So let me just experiment with that a little bit. So if I'll select my view and let's say I needed to bring this up on my sheet a little bit. I think this one just kind of shows me maybe which one is the problem child there too. It's like that endpoint for some reason won't grab that end of that. Yeah, it kind of should move with it. Ideally, it simplifies my drawing if I have to make revisions later that everything is kind of connected and moving. But some of these can just be problem dimensions, and some of them I can't ever resolve, it seems like. So I'll work at this one just a little bit. And oh, and if this is not coming on, this is what they call an annotation monitor. And it's this little plus sign down here on your status bar. So if you don't have that plus sign, and mine is turned on, that's why I got the exclamation point to show up. So it's considered on your mass selection here, it's the annotation monitor, this thing here. So if I don't, and I don't know if default has that on or off, but if you turn on the annotation monitor, you get this little plus sign on your status bar, which you can also turn on and off here. But if you have it turned on, it'll kind of keep track of these ones that are maybe having some issues. I work at them a little bit, and if I just can't get them to resolve, I just turn off the annotation monitor once I know my drawing's in the place where I need it to be. So Inventor can kind of be this way a little bit too. You'll get like 90% of your dimensions, 95%. You'll get a few that just don't cooperate on the as you move your drawing around or you move your views around on your drawing a little bit. But I'm going to just undo that move and see that this one and what when you have the annotation monitor on, you can actually I think you can just like select the exclamation point and this little dialog box comes on, which is like you can either delete it. I think that's deleting the whole dimension or try to reassociate it. So if you go to reassociate, it almost says like, we'll specify the first extension line origin. And I'm like, well, it's that one, the one that you're actually showing me that you seem to have, but it's like this one. And then the second place would be this one. Oh, sorry, this one. And see, that didn't act like it worked very good for me. It didn't act like it is going to reassociate. Sometimes I'll move it away and try to snap it back to that grip. But otherwise, I'll just have some that you just for some reason I can't get them to cooperate for me, even if I've reassociated it. Yeah, it'll be just random for me. All of a sudden it'll be like I do the same thing on this other dimension and I have like no problems. It can do that too. My advice is don't like stress too much because it's kind of like your other dimensions on your other drawings. They're not going to be super, even in your other, previous to 2D drafting, you always would have to move your dimensions a little bit. So I feel like that's why I say if I get 90% of them, I'm in good shape. But you'll just know that you have a problem child here a little bit. And like I said, I'll spend a little bit of time to see if a quick reassociation or a grip here or there will help me. And if not, I just move on because I'm like, okay, I'm not going to spend forever trying to fix it. I feel like it's probably operator error, but I blame the program on this one. So. And then I need the height of that feature as well. So I think I'll dimension that here. My base is going to be a nice control there. The ones that become real problem childs when they won't accept their like the right dimension. It's like you're modeled right, it's the right size, but it won't ever like those can be problem ones. I don't know. That's what I thought you were gonna have there, Ari. It was like one that was always gonna read out the wrong dimension. And sometimes I have to delete those and redo them. But so yeah, this one's got an issue. Reassociate. Yeah. I don't know. And then if I go to move it, I usually find out which one is the one that's which grip is the wrong one. It's like it has a good grip there, but it doesn't have a good grip there, is what it is, kind of. So yeah, it could be the way that I dimension it too. Maybe I'll try to delete it and do one dimension from this way now, from here to here. Snap it this way. Oh, sorry, not that way. Align. It'll like the aligned one. It seems like that'll be good. Oh yeah, I was just gonna try a different order of operations on these 2 points, maybe like this. See, that one seemed to like that. And maybe I'll try that here. Is I'll just try to dimension it from maybe this point to this point. Oh, I think I missed. Yeah, that one seems to associate better that way. Nope, doesn't. False hope. It's okay. Yeah. Every once in a while you get them to fix themselves, but circle center, yeah, circle center and circle height. Sure, let's do that. I think I'll size wise anyway, at least size and locations, how I think of this. So let me at least get a diameter here. Like it. And the size and location. I think I'm going to locate it from the same, crowd these a little bit here. Locate it from the same edge here. And pull this one down here. Not gonna do that. Let's pull this one down first. I don't know what my dimension should be there though. Let me see. Sure if I have it. I'm gonna check my my sheet real quick on this. 1.06. Yeah, no, I moved mine. Mine's slightly moved. Yeah, I've got my sheet up, but I think it is 1.06 is what we should have. And I did have that originally. I was just kind of moving my grips here. 1.06 is what I have as well. Yes. That one is the one that broke on you. Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have to. I just say don't sweat it too much. Yeah. I- yeah, and this one could be a good argument to dimension that height over here, unless you want to have a long leader line across your drawing. It's not the end of the world. Either way is right, you know. Either way will be fine. Maybe I'll dimension my height over here for this. Yeah, I just feel like some people have issues and some people do not. And then the dimensions I will have problems with, you won't. So, and then I'm just setting my spacings now. So maybe I'll try to do some of the auto sets here. 0.25.
How do we-
Set 5. Yeah. See that. So I think I'm looking pretty okay. If you say through here, that's fine. If we don't say through, it's understood to me. Um, I don't overuse the word through just because it's kind of annoying to always type into my dimensions. That's why I think I'm a little lazier when it comes to that, unless I have a through all through multiple pieces is usually. Yeah, so let me get this one. Set these spacings here. You should be 1/4 inch between them is kind of the minimum. We need to specify what? No, I don't think it does say that. It says 0.5 through drill. No, I'm not going to specify that. So there's just some other thing. Oh, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because I have the original drawing sheet up here. Ours is on a drawing sheet, but it's essentially the same image that we're looking at here. This does have a few other things. Just to I'm also not going to put on here. What I'm going to actually make you do is we're going to reopen these drawings. So save these drawings for sure. Um, Obviously you should be saving all your drawings, but these ones will open up again like later next semester, and we'll add some GD&T terminology to these. Um, but I just getting the initial 3D objects done is good for this semester. But what's going on here really is that they have a couple surface finishes that they're trying to specify specifically. The little V symbol here is a surface finish. Yeah, and we don't have to add those. Don't worry about adding those to yours. But those are, yeah, this is just showing some explicit like surface finishes. The higher the number, the finer the finishes on this. So it's like they're having some controlled surface finishes. I might add the 60 degree as a reference dimension. That's in parentheses. One thing that might show up on your ADDA quizzes this week is if you see a dimension with a box around it, like a squared box drawn around it, that's called a basic dimension. You kind of think of it as a nominal dimension a little bit, but it's a basic dimension. I get them. I kind of conflate those two together, but when we get into GD&T, the basic dimension actually has a way more powerful, like I should say it's not nominal at all. Basic means it's going to be driven by uh, the tolerances and maybe the GD&T finishes that we have to have, the control over the form. GD&T is just going to control form beyond just dimensions. It's going to control the form of an object as well. And so there's tolerances that we apply dimensionally and form. Like we control the form with dimension or tolerances, and we control the dimensions with tolerances. So when when we see the dimension on the print, it'll have a box around it, which just means that's its basic size, but it's actually going to be mostly controlled by tolerances. And so they get a box drawn around them, and they call them basic dimensions. So I think that shows up on your ADDA question set this week, maybe. There might be another one too that's like not very well known. Oh, one that's underlined. If you have a dimension that's underlined on a print, I don't remember if they talked about this in your book, but that one is maybe I can't remember now. Not to scale, something like it's got like a. It's not something we've used on any of our drawings yet, but I think there's 3 different types that show up on these ADA quizzes. Parentheses ones are reference dimensions, meaning they're not the critical controlled whole. They're like nice to know, but not don't control the part from them. And then that's a reference dimension in parentheses. Basic dimensions is going to be more GD&T based with a box around it. It's called a basic dimension. And an underlined dimension not to scale. I'll look that up before we leave, but a dimension with an underlined. Okay. So the other things I'm going to drop here a little bit are, I think that's about it. No surface finishes, and don't worry about maybe the description on this. Just a half-inch hole is fine for me, half-inch diameter hole. And so I'm kind of done as far as I consider. I think I've located. I've got a little clash here, which means I'm going to have to move my view up a little bit, which means I'm going to lose some of those associated dimensions, which is super annoying. But
You're really not possible to select all of them, and then you can take a whole.
yeah, I could have done that. Sure. Why didn't I do that? Yes, it is. You can move it the same way. So if you have all this like this, I should be able just to select these just like I would anything, and that other dimension too, and then do a move command. Move is here. It's kind of buried on the home tab here, or you just type in M for move. But yeah, we should be able to move these views the same way we would our other kind of views, even in our viewports. Yeah, that works good. Heck yes. So then usually I'll just turn off my monitor that I know I've got a couple dimensions that are problems, but line type scales, I should still be able to modify those line type scales. Maybe I'll make these a little finer. A little more breakup in that center line. Looks like the hidden lines are good. So this one to me is ready to just name it and call it quits here. Mine's a 1/2, 1 to 1/2. Yes. I do put NA. It's just because the zone doesn't apply to this. This has no zoning. Remember the zoning sheets that I have. What's that? Oh, on one of them I did. It's because it's sent to drafting. Yeah, it's like an engineer delivering you something to drafting. So they weren't even considering scale. And it's because it's an image too. So it's just like not even. I did because Jen's gonna log in. I'm filling out my revision block is all I'm doing here though while I'm off screen. Let's see. You can switch it pretty easy. Let me. Okay. Mine's yeah. If you don't know, select your view. Always know what your scales are, and then yeah, mine is a 1.5 scale here. And I'm going to do my main views as my scale, like my dimensions are driven from. My isometric views at a different scale. That's pretty common. There's pretty common that in order to detail stuff, you're going to be scaled however you need to be. And then isometric views are just for imagery, so they can be a different scale. So I don't notate that either on there. I drive from my title block the main view scales or my dimensioned view scale. Yeah. And then if I have, but then, it's that's why title block scales are okay when you only have a single part like this. But when I have multiple parts on a sheet, um, maybe the scale on my sheet becomes NA because each different view at different scales, I will notate what those are, especially if they're dimensioned views. So if I'm annotating a view, I need to say what scale it is. And if I have different scales on a drawing for that purpose, then I can just add a title to my view and put a scale underneath the title. Yeah, because you just want to help people out, especially if you've dimensioned something. Yeah. So I'm 1.5. I did change mine to 1.5 in my title block, and I just 1 to 1.5. Yeah, I use decimal scales for my kind of the same way you would put a decimal or a scale on these particular views. They are decimal scales. I actually use that in my little scale block here, a decimal scale. I think I've done that pretty consistently through this semester. Come on. Mister. It's freaking Mr. Drew. I know, Mr. Mister, which I think of Happy Gilmore when I think of Mr. Mister. Mr. Mister. I think I killed Mr. Mister lady. And this one is what? 3D positioner? Mine's in class. So I'm not gonna worry about material or finish or anything. Nope.
I think you need to pick the precision of the.
Oh yeah, I do because of the 3 decimal place and stuff. Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, exactly right. And you were talking about that, Lydia, and I say yes. I want these probably to be my. I want this to probably carry the same precision. Yeah. So 2 and 3, yeah, like it's always what I've always said is whatever engineering provides you is what you should carry that precision. So don't change that unless you have a good reason for it. What about it?
But it's not gonna have
Yeah. And so, of course, I don't know what dimension styles I have here. If you have to change, I know I have a few different dimension styles, but really only a 2 decimal style. So to me, if I only have like 1 or 2 dimensions to change, I probably am a little lazy in creating a whole dimension style for that. And I'll do a spot dimension style change. So this one here, I'll just single click precision to 3 place. That should carry the accuracy that we were looking for here, 3 place. Everything else is 2, but that should be yeah. So if yours was carrying 3, maybe just you should maybe be able to just change them all to a 2 decimal place. And if I've done like a whole bunch and they're all 3 decimal place, if I didn't like it, then usually I'll change one and then I'll just use my match properties. Yeah. Yeah, like because you can change one, like this one, I could say, oh, if this one was supposed to be 2, instead of changing the precision, I can actually have right above it, I have the dimension style change. And I can be like, oh, I wanted it to be 2. And then once I change 1 to 2, then I can just go through and from the home tab, I think, oh, I don't know if match properties is on the ribbon menu anymore, or if it is, I don't know which tab it's under. So in that case, if I know what the name of it is, you can just type it in, MA match. There's match properties coming up. At this point, when you jump, yeah, when you jump around and some of the command names and you jump from 2D to 3D, sometimes you can just remember to type in, use your keyboard shortcuts. And if there's a command you're looking for, but you can't find the ribbon menu for it, just type it in, what it starts with. Or Google it. Yes. Anyway, I am going to change this one to 3 decimal place. Then I'm going to call this drawing done. Yeah, done. So take a quick preview of it, the PDF. Looks like I get my visible lines to act right. This is the only one I didn't really like tie. I think I didn't do I just need to do a little. I'm gonna leave this one as my initial dimension here.
You did locate the higher proportions from the.
Yeah, this side I went over here. Either side, you could. I probably wouldn't pull it here because that's not in between the 2 views. Yeah, yeah. Hey, generally I do that too. Generally, I'm like a size and my location will generally be with the size dimension. But this, I broke my own rules just so I eliminated a long extension line. But it's not. I have this long extension line, so it really doesn't matter that much. Yeah. I'm just going to drop this down a little bit here. And then I'm happy with this. I'm going to save it. Yeah, if you work at them long enough, it seems like it will accept the. Sometimes you can get those to reassociate. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next one though. So I'm going to end this. This is kind of part 2 of this. So that one's the end. That's how we manage line types, colors, and some dimensioning. So I'll stop that one.